thank you guys for staying with me all the way to the end. We are in the last bit here. We're going to go over the application and evaluation part of the life skills anger management lesson plan here. Again, I know it sounds a little repetitive, but the informed consent, it is a continuous thing. Do you guys have any questions about the informed consent piece of this? You guys know that I'm a student, that this is part of my learning. You guys are all volunteers. You're welcome to leave at any point. If you're uncomfortable, you are not obligated to stay or take part. If you say anything or bring up anything or write anything down that indicates harm to yourself, harm to somebody else, or harm to a minor in the past, present, or future, those are all reportable things, and as per the college and the law, I will have to report them, okay? So, any questions on that before we get on to this last little bit? So, thank you guys again for sticking around. So in the last bit, we did a lot of work with, role playing, with figuring out what our goals are. With figuring out coping mechanisms. This last piece, I've given you all. Sorry, does everybody have a pen?
Yes.
You want a pen? There you go. So you all have a piece of paper and a pen. And what I'm going to ask is that you guys take a minute to think about everything that we've done and come up with some goals. Basically, they're goals for you to either achieve or goals for our process to work on. So whether it is your communication, your ability to be clear, your goal could also be choosing from our list that we created collectively on coping mechanisms and how you can apply them. So take some time. Feel free to write your goals out. It can be one goal, it can be many goals, it can be inclusive of every relationship you have, or maybe just with your mom or with your boss. So feel free to take time to do that.
Bless you.
Bless you.
How many approximately?
Anything you want.
Okay.
Anything that's real
Whatever
to you.
feels right.
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever feels good, whatever. If it's something that, a goal that you want to work on in regards to your anger, how you navigate through an angry scenario or situation or encounter with somebody. If there's something that you want to overcome in regards to your anger, that would be a great goal. And, ways to work through it and what sort of coping mechanisms that we went over could you maybe use or tools. All right.
I got 5 good ones down.
Okay. Great. While you're writing this, I'll just reiterate the fact that the ability to really identify your feelings when you're in the moment of being angry, it's that acknowledgement of your anger in the moment that can stop you from making mistakes that can permanently damage or harm, sometimes even physically, relationships or people that you have in your life. So when you're creating these goals, you're really ensuring the safety and the longevity and the healthiness of those relationships and those around you. So, you should be keeping that in mind when you're thinking about what my goals are. Your goals should always be to strengthen and have a healthier and happier relationship with those around you, even when you're angry. So Donna, you're done. Jade, done? Okay, so I'm not gonna pry and ask you guys to share every single goal you have. I just want you to share one of your main goals. Let's say your top goal. So Donna, you can go first if you want. If not, you can pass.
No, I would say maybe pause, take time, and maybe negotiate.
Negotiate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So your goal would be to pause and negotiate more.
It's
in
not
the
always a
scenario.
matter of right or wrong.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's a matter of needing to negotiate out a situation where
Okay.
both people are happy with the outcome.
All right. Jay?
I like the direct approach a little better. Sometimes when I talk, it would sound passive aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be like purposely or not.
Mhm.
So to try and be more direct,
All right.
I feel is something that
You know,
would.
taking out light bulbs.
Okay. Michelle.
Mine is don't believe everything is an attack on you, because I do that a lot, whether it's like at work and like someone comes at me, I internalize it and I'm like, oh my god, this is an attack on me.
Okay.
And it could just be someone coming at me with an actual issue,
Mm-hmm.
and I rank it up, I hype it up to something that it doesn't need to be,
Okay.
and then I get angry. So not everything's an attack.
Okay. I mean, I think that listening to your goals, that you guys really understand some of the key principles that we went over and some of the things that we discussed. I'm really interested in knowing more about what anger looks like to you now and what your understanding of what anger is now versus in the beginning. So in the beginning, we had an angry old man. We had Oh yeah, sure. Whoever's, yep, Donna, that's yours. We had the light bulbs with a happy face and then a Hulk face. Jay, this was yours. Okay, and then our last one was somebody with smoke coming out of their ears, throwing fire with red eyes, and that was Michelle's.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, self-realization, self-reflection is so important. It's super, super important. And this is where we reflect on what we've learned, what we've grown to think, or maybe see anger as being. And so what I would really like you to do is to redraw. Think about now how you feel about anger, how you feel about your ability to control anger, or it can just simply be what anger looks like now to you. Okay, so the markers are there. You can even write it out. If writing it in words is easier, if you're not artistic, that's fine too. Do you want more markers?
No, I'm just thinking.
Okay.
Hit brown.
I'm just listening to the sound of markers.
Is it making you angry, the sound of the markers?
Not at all.
Okay, great. Michelle, you're done?
Mm-hmm.
I'll grab yours.
Actually, it needs some explaining.
All right. Okay, so, I mean, here we go. Let's start with Michelle. Michelle has drawn a house with a stop sign with an arrow saying that this is you in there and you are to exhale. And then there's the ground.
Yes. Can I explain?
Okay. And there's issues under the ground. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so when there's an issue with me, I now realize how I deal with things. So I just stop and think before I react. So that's what the stop sign is. I like my space, but I shouldn't really take 24 hours because that can like really just not be good.
Okay.
And then I find out what the deep-rooted issue is. So here's the issue beneath the ground. Like, why am I actually mad? Am I mad at my mom for telling me to study, or am I mad because I'm taking out my stress on her? So find the deep-rooted issue and then act appropriately.
Okay.
So beneath the ground, what's going on?
Okay. So this is Jay's, yes? So he's written realization, more direct respect, accountability, and arrows at me. You. Okay, so explain.
So what this activity has taught me, or provided realization, that I feel I should be more direct, I should show more respect, and I should take accountability for my actions instead of looking at just to be never my fault.
Okay. And is that what you feel like anger should look like? Is just more of a direct sort of
I feel like you should
problem solving?
understand the whole situation more.
Okay. All right. Last but never the least, we have Donna's, which
I'm
looks
excited for
like
this one.
somebody sleeping in a bed with a giant glass of wine. I mean, to
I'm
me,
so
this
excited.
isn't angry. This is like what this. I hope that this would be, this would be my happiness. But why don't you explain it?
I didn't really mean it as anger, more as a response to, as opposed to
Okay.
picturing an angry face,
Okay.
chilling out, taking it easy,
Okay.
Calming yourself down.
relaxing a bit, calm yourself, have
Okay.
a glass of wine, maybe have a little rest.
Okay,
and
so
then
cooling down, really working on.
reapproach it
Okay.
after doing something enjoyable.
Okay, I mean, I think you guys have pretty much hit it on, the nail on the head. We went over a lot of information today. We went over, what we felt like anger really was. We went over, ways of dealing with anger. We talked about our own personal styles of being angry and ways to kind of navigate out of them in different scenarios. By pointing a very direct microscope at something like anger, it enables us to more easily pull from those skills in the moment. It's easy to prepare, right? Everybody says, you can study for a test all you want, but when it's in front of you, being able to understand it and being able to identify the key points is so much harder because your adrenaline's going. And so doing a life skills, anger management, anger, skills class, what it is it's going to be something that we can all pull on when we are in the moment, when we feel like we don't know how to cope in a certain situation. We can go back and remember, we went over a whole list of coping mechanisms. Which one would work for me right now? I think, and then I know for myself that there's a time and a place for every single one of these. Not one is better than the other. It's just different applications, and I hope that you all can see it that way as well. Is there anything else you guys can think of that you would want clarification on or want to talk about further? Any comments?
I just think it's similar to having because I worked in a school, we would have lockdown drills, we
Right.
would have hold and secure drills and fire drills.
Right.
And there was no fire, no real
Mhm.
need for it at the time. But
Right.
because you went through the exercise,
Mm-hmm.
you familiarized yourself with things that you could do if there
Mhm.
was one. Didn't mean that when it happened that you were going to remember all those things, but even if one or two of those things popped into your head because you went through the drill,
Mm-hmm.
then it was
It was worth
worthwhile.
it. Okay.
And that's-
Well, I hope, if you guys can even take one thing away from this, then it wasn't all for nothing. So, again, thank you guys so much for sitting down with me and for taking part in this and for being actively taking part in this. I appreciate your time and everything that you put towards it. And, I look forward to doing it again. So thank you guys.
You
You're
taught
welcome.
us some good skills.
Good.